Hello everyone, it is your bud. This video will be another scripted video without much editing because of the way that I'm feeling today. However, I think that you should have a good understanding of my anger and frustration with these two companies when I'm done with this. When I was younger, there was something that I absolutely loved. I learned all the stories, spent all my money on it, and would have continued to do so for the rest of my life. This thing was called Warhammer Fantasy. It had such a rich story with many creatures and races, also detailed and thought out. And then, after I had spent an exorbitant amount of money building my ideal Skaven horde, Games Workshop, or GW as I will be referring to them as, decided to end Warhammer Fantasy. I know. They had the balls to say it was to streamline gameplay for the fans. And how did they do that? By removing all the cool models and backstories from the less popular selling races, and then boosted the popular selling ones to hell. Screwing up the balance, all of my favorite models no longer had rules. All my favorite characters were killed in the end times, as it was so titled. Some killed so unceremoniously that I'm still bitter about it to this day. They just killed off the old lore and armies and ushered in the Age of Sigmar, the shittiest fanfic version of events that they could have ever done. Now, there were many fans who absolutely loved Warhammer Fantasy and 40k, which is the sci-fi version. Oh, and I haven't mentioned it yet, but Warhammer Fantasy is a war game where you have miniatures and you roll dice and play battles. Alright, anyway, for Warhammer Fantasy and Warhammer 40k, there were many fans who absolutely loved them still, and these fans started to try to make their own stories, and some of these fans are continuing this work until today. Some of the best Warhammer content ever made was by these fans. And then they were subsequently shut down and sued by Games Workshop for making better content than Games Workshop was able to make. Better content than what GW made by tailor-making things for the masses of sheeple that they wanted to have drool over their Sigmarines. Space Marines that somehow made it into the fantasy setting. What the f- How idiotic do you have to be? Things sell good. Thing popular. Make nothing else. Hey look, that is popular because there are no options. Get rid of more options and make less product. Hey look, they're popular. Duh. I swear Games Workshop has the stupidest business model. I was spending hundreds of dollars on plastic model as a teenager. I was spending hundreds of dollars on plastic models shaped like rats and ogres, and then they just said my armies weren't popular enough to print plastic for 5 cents. This is a true fact, by the way. The plastic costs like 5 or 10 cents to make for the sprue, and then they sell a single model for up to 30 bucks, and that's Canadian, so I don't know what the prices are for you. I mean, just shut up and take my money. I would have had hordes of ogres, orcs, and Skaven by now if Games Workshop hadn't decided that they only wanted to sell what was the most popular. So it literally costs cents to the dollar to make these things. They make them for cents, sell them for upwards of $10 to $20 or $30 for a single model. That means they're making like hundreds and hundreds, like probably thousands of percents in the profit margin, and they can't even be bothered to maintain their old cool armies. I mentioned that Games Workshop takes down and sues fans for fanfic. That's because it's literally the best fanfic ever created. The Warhammer fanbase is freaking awesome. Lord Inquisitor and Astartes are the two best fan films, and they make anything that Games Workshop has produced pale in comparison, except maybe the Dawn of War 3 cutscenes, but maybe just like 1 or 2 cutscenes. Still, the fans make everything way better. I mean, it really makes Games Workshop's official games and cutscenes look like shit compared to the fans' works. And since the fans all have a niche interest that Games Workshop can't mass produce as obscenely efficiently and in a financially blood-sucking way, the vultures in charge are happy letting their IP sink into meaningless irrelevance and just become another wargaming option. This reminds me so much of the Dickney Star Wars trilogy, and the fact that they've put out so many rehashes of those few things that they could sell instead of new stories for the fans to dream about. Games Workshop's business model is Space Marines versus Chaos Space Marines, and they figured out a way to bring that to fantasy by creating the Age of Sigmar. Dickney wanting to do the same, they were drooling over the ability to bring the Empire and Rebels back to the screen, to have them repeat an endless series of battles for whoever has a free afternoon and wants to watch a movie without caring what Star Wars is. They could have done anything, made any story, but instead they just like rehashing and rebooting and killing all the original characters like the end times. Now there is really no going back. They've made the good so OP, and now the evil are OP too, and they've left nothing gray. I really thought Rey and Ben were the perfect characters to explore the gray of the Force. You know, I stand between the candle and the flame. Not a Star Wars quote, but let you know if you recognize that quote down below. I see Rey as a sort of Kreia/Mara Jade mix, and Ben as a replica of the son from Mortis. I really thought they gave themselves everything they needed to have a good story that didn't need to rely on the extremes of good and evil, but instead that's all we got, just the extremes of good and evil. Murderers who do good are now good unless they feel bad, then they're bad. Rey probably killed more people than Kylo did in this series. She's never tried controlling her emotions, and whenever the fans point out how not Star Wars the new movies have become, we get blasted by Dickney for being interested in the story that they've tried to make appealing to the broadest audience. I can't believe they literally killed the golden goose. Games Workcock and Dickney might know how to run a business, but they have no love for storytelling, and that just kills me. Some of the best IP ever is sitting in the hands of nostalgia vultures who care nothing for the emotions their story can elicit from others, unless it's the emotions that lull you into a consumer mind frame. Warhammer and Star Wars should be allowed to be consumed. I would have been even more broke if they had cared to put the love into their work. I would have been totally screwed. As a fan, I would have continued to buy Warhammer armies to build and paint, and new Star Wars games, posters, books, and random shit that I didn't need at all. Whatever it would have been, I would have bought it. Now though, the fans are the only ones keeping me interested in Warhammer and Star Wars. There are these fan bases that have been left behind by the big corporations, and these big corporations only step in when one of the fans' ideas is so good or popular that the greed overwhelms them, and they wade back into the filth that is the true fan base, and they bring out the banhammer. No invite to the premieres, they'll buy your content and never make it, so their stuff still looks cool to the sheeple, and they don't realize that there are better options than official content. I hate the greed so much. I love storytelling, and the fact that these stories have been kept from the public domain for so long when they were practically created by them is just insulting. All the expanded universe and the Warhammer lore that has come from so many generations of fans, just to be told that official content is more important when all it is something that can be understood by dumber, less involved fans. If your fans aren't involved, they won't care. You might make bucket loads of money, but the stories will suffer, and in the future people won't look back on these with pride. If the Psychic Awakening screws up my Yannari anymore, I might be done with 40k. It has been years since they've half-assed released the Yannari, and they're still nerfing it to this day to protect their precious Space Marines and Chaos Marines. As a Xenos player, I have been left on the sideline facing nerf after nerf, and now to see Star Wars, one of my most beloved universes to daydream about, being taken over in the same way makes me feel so sad. This is how democracy dies. With thunderous applause. Thanks for watching this video. I mean, I guess listening, really. I doubt I'll be able to do this topic justice in just one video, but damn does it feel good to yell at the internet and these monoliths of greed. Let me know if you want me to talk more about Warhammer anymore in the future. Please like and subscribe, and that'll let me know that you want more. Thanks for watching. Leave any questions or suggestions below, and I will see you in the next video.